I think that social media is kind of bad for the average person. I really do because um I mean, it can be okay if used like if you just want it for your small circle and you're not trying to like get famous or whatever. Because it's quite obvious that we have people that come out here that'll do the most outlandish things because they think it'll go viral. In a lot of cases it does. And what happens is people who you know, I I align with right now will bolster those numbers by sharing it. And then you got a big account and then other people share it, just like it pops off. So what does that tell people is that um, if you do crazy things for attention, and that's what I think about the whole trans stuff and the pronoun stuff. It's just it just kept on becoming more and more. It didn't just stop. You know what I mean? It didn't just stop like, okay, well no, they started coming out with all these like he, her, or I'm a this, that, like cool, man. Doesn't mean I have to fucking partake in that bullshit. So people will just say and get more and more taboo because they realize the more taboo I do, the more clicks and views, the more money it can generate, or give me fame too as well. A little bit of fame. A lot of these videos that do go viral for people's bad behavior, or it's a highly narcissistic type of society, which people, oh, you're a narcissist because you're like filming yourself as well. Yeah, sure, I guess, but I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I'm not trying to mess with other people, and I'm not. I could be pluralizing and say some outlandish things too and get recognized. But what happens is somebody comes up with an idea, start messing with people in public or whatever. Like if you've seen the videos of people going into grocery stores and making a spectacle of themselves in front of the camera, pouring milk all over themselves, like that is pure clickbait. That's what that is. There's no purpose to it. Going into a store and just causing a mess because you want to draw attention to yourself. So what happens is then they have to start outdoing themselves. Well, I have to do something even more extreme, even more crazy to get noticed. And you can see it's just degenerate. And then other people start doing it. It's like, oh, this person, got recognized, and I want to do that too. And that's where we're at, like the bottom line for me, like why I make things videos or whatever, and I don't think that everyone should agree with everything I say. Hell, I don't even, like, if I go back on my videos, I'm sure I can look back and be like, I don't even agree with what I said back then, because it's not that I'm a grifter. It's just because new information comes in and I realize what I was thinking, I was wrong, and I was ignorant. I didn't have all the information. So why would I keep on believing something when I was already like proven wrong? And like, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm not going to keep doubling down on stupid. I'm proven wrong a lot. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I might comment on something that I think I might. It might sound logical, you know what I mean? And then in reality, what happens is like, no, this is somebody will come and correct you. And yeah, that's a good thing. Like, okay, I didn't know that information. And at first, your ego is kind of like, you want to fight back and like, no, Looks like they have the correct information. That's basically what I try to do. I just try to mix my own personal experience with what I'm seeing in reality, and I use my imagination to try to, if I want to talk about like the future and what technology, where we're going or whatever, and that's about it, you know what I mean? But I just think that most people aren't cut out for what they want. Like, they think that they want to be famous, but if you get famous for the wrong thing, you could have like the masses against you really bad, and you're just kind of like ostracizing yourself from society. But there's like a buffer too. People feel like it's not real when they post stuff on the internet, because they don't, when people do crazy things in public, yeah, they can get reprimanded instantly. There's always that threat. But if you're just sitting in your room and you're trying to say like, oh, like for instance, the whole trans thing, where, dude, to be honest, if you're doing a good job pulling off LARPing as a man or a woman, nobody's gonna question that you're going into the wrong restroom. If you're like, nobody's gonna question that. If I had some dude that was dressed up as a woman, and he did a really, really good job, because some of them could do a fantastic job, and they know how to act feminine and whatever, or maybe they really are anyway, and then they come to the stall next to me looking like an attractive woman because they're LARPing, with all the makeup and whatever, and first you can't tell, you don't see like the Adam's apple or anything like that. You see like, you look over and like they're standing up taking a piss, like that's a dude. I would be weirded out, you know what I mean? And it's like, why are you in my bathroom? Like, oh man, that's weird. It's just like the problem is the left doesn't really understand that a guy who's like built like a linebacker, that's not really a big bulky dude, hairy, got a beard, just because the dude he looks deranged, like the Joker or something, dressed as like a woman, like, but you can obviously tell, like, he did, like, what are you doing? But like, the kids don't feel safe. How would a little girl feel safe in that environment, seeing that? You know what I mean? Like, trying to, like, that's a private thing. And I'm more for like these bathrooms becoming more individualized instead of like having stalls. If we can do that, having our own rooms, I like the unisex bathrooms. Those ones are really nice. And I mean, I like to have privacy when I'm going to the bathroom. I don't like somebody sitting next to me blowing up the toilet or whatever. That's a different issue. But what you can understand, like, what about that child's feels unsafe, feels like that child can't use the bathroom. That child has to use the bathroom, but they can't because they have some deranged person who is trying to LARP as a woman, and obviously doing a horrible job because they want attention brought to themselves. And that's where we're at. And it's like, dude, like, you can say you're a woman and ignore biology, but you're not. You'll never, like, I'll never be a woman. If I was like deranged and I was confused about what body I was born into, like, it doesn't matter what I do unless they can like go in there and take my brain and put it into a different body and has got different DNA, or maybe like we have technology in the future that can switch my DNA, turn some DNA, like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, what we have right now is barbaric. And these people are just trying to get attention, and that's the problem. It's just, and you have people who just amplify it by, and it helps them too, you know, like Libs of TikTok. The whole reason why she's famous is because of amplifying degeneracy on the left. And I think that a lot of these people they do have mental illness for sure, but I also think that they're like exaggerating it, you know what I mean, for views and clicks. If we didn't have the internet, they wouldn't be doing that, you know what I mean? Like, I think the internet is a big problem for that. And I'm not like against the internet. I obviously like the internet, and we're to a point basically where my idea of like we all have our own social media where we can interact with AI instead of real people, which, dude, how do we know that we're even interacting with people anyway? Like, seriously, I don't know if like some famous person sees my post or reply on Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter now because they fucking shadow ban me, and they're just like, they're no better than any other platform at this point. But yeah, any Twitter, where was I going with that? Whatever. But yeah, it's just like, it's just ridiculous. Well, no, okay, like, yeah, we can have, I would rather interact, like, to know that it's all robots anyway, that it's a AI version of people that I want to engage with. Because, like, chances are these famous people who I do want to engage with, like, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be cool to engage with Trump on the internet, or Elon, or any of these people. But it's not going to happen, especially for, like a regular person. It's just never going to happen. So, like, and you don't know who's a bot at this point. If we're going to have this thing, we need to have verification. You know, we need to be verified that it's a real human. And we need to have, like, facial recognition. If we want to be like, oh, this is legit. And I know that sounds bad, but, like, I'm sorry, if you have an anonymous account, you shouldn't be, like, popping off, man. Like, you don't have any skin in the game. You might be talented or whatever, but how do we know that you're just not a bot? And how do I know? How do I know if, like, the person who's interacting is the real person anyway? It could just be somebody that off their team they hired. So it's just like, it's all fake anyway. I don't understand why we don't have, like, we have verification, but we need to be able to decipher, like, dude, the people who are literally, like me, I have my name Enslaved Ones on here. I mean, I'm doing that for a reason, because I'm trying to find a job or whatever. But I mean, I'll take it off. I had it off before. I had my real name up, and I had no problem putting my real name up. You know, it is what it is. But if I do that, then I should be boosted in the algorithm. I should be seen more than somebody that's an anonymous account. And they should have, if you're an anonymous account and you don't want to show yourself, you should be able to do that. But you should have some type of different verification. You know, it's just like, we have to, like, organize this shit better. That's what we have to do. We have to organize our regular society better too. If you want to like, I don't have a problem with, like, different pockets of cultures here in America. I really don't. As long as it's not degenerate, you know what I mean? As long as you're not trying to oppress me, you know, whatever. But We should have our own like communities, man. Seriously, if you want to be in a place where it's only black people or only white people, you should have that. And it's not like it's like, if I'm a white person, I want to move to that black community, or the vice versa. It's like illegal or anything, but like you're definitely not going to feel welcome. So why would you want to live there? You know, and just let those people live by themselves. And if they're like racist black people or racist white people or racist Arabic people, whoever racist, let them go do their thing, man. God damn it. And just leave them the fuck alone, man. We don't live in some type of utopia, and it would be nice. It would be nice if we like just lived in a utopia and had a kumbaya. But unfortunately we don't. But yeah, we need to reorganize social media. It just seems kind of pointless, you know? Like, I mean, unless like you're making money off of it. For the rest of us, it's like, you know, you get a couple likes, a couple views. What's the point? There's no growth. It's the have or have nots, and it's like whatever. Then we won't use it, and that's what, you know. You know what's funny too is the people who like call me stupid because I misspell a word by accident. So like, you can't edit replies. So if I want to fix what I put out, I have to go there, I have to copy and paste, which I've done a couple of times. Because I'm like, that's really bad. I messed up. I'm not gonna proofread everything, dude. I'm like, I say what I have to say, send it off to the next thing. I'm not sitting here like trying to proofread everything. I don't fucking care. And yeah, what I put out, if you can't understand what I put out, I mean, mostly everything I put out is spelled pretty correctly. My grammar might be off or whatever. But one of the most annoying things to me is when people like correct oh, I put the wrong there. Like, who really gives a fuck? Do you understand what I said? You don't, like, you're worried about my brain moves. Do their brains not move fast? Like, when I'm sitting here trying to input this crap, because the input is so slow. It's so damn slow. My brain moves so fucking fast, and I thought like everybody's is like this, where your thoughts are faster than your input of typing with your thumbs on a small keyboard. Trying to use autocorrect as much as possible so I don't have to type out the whole word. To make it quicker, so I can like not fuck up my flow of the thought process of what I'm trying to input. It's like, yeah, there's gonna be mistakes made, dude. Of course. You know, of course I'm gonna kind of sound stupid sometimes. Yeah, because they're my own thoughts. I'm not perfect. You know, I'm glad that people can, you know, write perfectly. You know, a lot of these people are like, they say that I'm uneducated because I didn't, you know, go to college or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna brag, but like I do have dyslexia. That's one thing. Most people, you know, people don't know that shit. So like, I do have that battling against me. You know, I was plugging in to Grok yesterday and trying to assess like, where would I be what percentile would I be compared to like the average person, the average American, the average person in the world. And I put it in all the factors, and Grok rated me pretty high for intelligence, and that's not factoring like, I mean, it's pretty fucking good, honestly. My negative, why it didn't rate me like really high, was because of my lack of depth and different, you know, contexts of different things. It's just kind of like more general. I'm more general, surface level, talking about a lot of different things. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm not a specialist, but I like to know a lot of. I'm interested in a lot of different things. My interest, if I just like do one thing, I get burnt out. I can't just do one thing. I have to, my interest, like, it just gets old really fast for me, and I shut down. That's me. But they don't factor in that. And the funny, and like these people on the left, they're sitting here criticizing my grammar. One little mistake, one little mess up on my, and I didn't catch it. I didn't proofread it all the way before I sent out the reply. Which, if you want to get noticed, you have to hit the reply, like when you see somebody post something pretty quickly. So, they don't factor that in. And then it's like, the people on, you know, like the thug life ghetto, like the people that they defend these people, and they call me stupid and uneducated, when a lot of people, when it's just like the grammar is, I love the black culture, man. I really like the flair of how they enunciate words, or the different like slang. That's cool. But like when we're to the point where it's like chain dolls in my butt, no, like you literally sound like you're fucking retarded. They defend these people, don't care about their grammar, but I'm supposed to be held on a higher, like, what are you talking about? Like, try to figure out what the hell these people are saying. And I sound extremely racist in that. But the same goes for white people, man. White people are doing the same thing. I don't like that shit. I've heard like the redneck accent, like really thick. I can't understand it, man. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Sound fucking retarded, dude. It's the same type of thing, and that's what if you look at the read the book Black Redneck White Liberal by Thomas Sowell. It's absolutely amazing book. I think that everyone should read that. That white people are the ones that created that slang, that ain't all. That's the redneck culture, and that's what the black culture is, that like embracing at this point. Ghetto culture is, it's embracing redneck culture. It's redneck degeneracy. That's what it is. So yeah, like I'm an artist. Maybe not so much right now, but yeah, I'm an artist, and I can see like beauty on like murals and stuff like that. That's really cool. And I think that if somebody owns a building, they're like, I want my building to be colorful, and so they have some of these artists that they can do stuff with the spray can just like do some phenomenal things that you would never think that would be able to be possible with a spray paint can. That's different when somebody owns the property and they want to hire somebody, or they do it themselves because they're artists. But if you go in and just start spray painting your gang shit all over everything, you just see like these like, I don't want to see that graffiti, man. I think that's horrible. I don't want to see trash laying all over the ground. If somebody like owns the building and they want their building to look like that, tagged up, that's whatever. But most of the time people are just destroying people's property, and then they have to clean it up because they don't want that shit on their property. And it's disrespecting people's property rights. And I think that we should, if people want to live in, like these inner city degenerate communities, which, you know, people will be like, you're racist, man. You're racist because you're talking about this. Well, am I racist to say that this could happen to any race, what's going on in inner city black communities? Given my opinion, given that circumstance that they've been in, some of it their own, some of our government, any race can be depicted or go down that path. Any race could be like the black guy of society that nobody wants to go into. Nobody wants to go into that shit. I don't want to live in that fucking shit. I don't want to be caught dead in a fucking ghetto. And I feel bad for these people, man. I think what needs to happen is we need to label these domestic gangs as terrorist organizations, because that's exactly what they are. They're terrorizing their communities. They're making people afraid. Just because people, like, there's good people that live in those communities that are forced to have to live in those communities, and they're afraid. And I feel for those people. That's horrible, man. Absolutely horrible. I try to be a fair man. That's basically what I try to come across. I try to be fair, you know what I mean? And I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, fucking black people are ghetto or whatever. I think that's dumb. Or, you know, there's a lot of dumb fucking white people, dude. There's a lot of white people I fucking hate. I fucking hate them. You think that I'm gonna pick hanging out or living next to somebody who's a fucking degenerate white person who is a ghetto or fucking ultra leftist commie? You think I want to be around those people? No, not at all. That's a big reason why I left Washington State. I'm like, fuck these people, man. I fucking hate these people. I'm sorry, it's a strong word, but they hate me too, so I don't give a fuck. Does two wrongs make it right? No, but like, you know, they won't leave us alone. They'll never leave us alone because they're basically parasites. But I can't stand them. And it's not about race for me. It's about, like, what are you are you like trying to be it's about living in a civilized society. Seeing these white people who are probably getting paid to protest. They're not productive members of society. They're not doing shit. A regular person doesn't have time to be like, their whole life is protesting. We're working, we have to provide for ourselves. Obviously, somebody's funding their life. You don't have to, you know what I mean? So it's just like, we're out here trying to get by to fund ourselves and pay for our bills and put a roof over our head, and somebody else is doing it for them, whether they're getting paid, which they probably are getting paid, which should be illegal too. I don't give a fuck, man. You know, the left likes to hide behind the Constitution all the time. They like to break the law because, like, they are mostly the ones committing the crimes. I'm not saying right wing or Republicans don't, you know, conservatives don't. They don't break any laws. Of course they do. But you see it more with these other people on the left, and they defend this shit. Well, they've taken their stance, and they want to defend evil. They want to defend what's wrong, what's morally wrong. Like Taylor Lorenz, she still won't come out and be against that guy, Luigi, what he did, assassinating that guy, shooting him in the back. A lot of this, they've accepted this. So if you're a leftist, that's what you accept. Accept that you are a degenerate. You are anti-civilization. You're anti-human. You're in a death cult, and that's what you represent. You have no morals. You have no values, and just because you what they're doing is a lot of people have been writing off of what the Democrats used to represent. Democrats were actually really good. I liked them. But now the Democrats represent degeneracy. They represent anti-civilization. They are a death cult. And like, they seem like they want to get rid of dogs now, which I'm glad they're taking that stance. That's a beautiful stance for them to take. You know how many people are gonna say, see ya? Like, I love my dog. You're not taking my dog away from me, fucking piece. Like, that's where they're at. And what it is they want to control you. They want to be able to oppress you, and that's what they do. And we've had enough of that shit. We're not going to do it no more. And listen, man, sometimes you got to break a few eggs to you know, some laws might get broken. Do I want to see people who are doing the right things sent to an El Salvador prison if they're a good upstanding citizen? No. Those, defend Dylan Roof, sending Dylan Roof there. Defend that. Defend it. That's all I have to say. I would love to see Dylan Roof get sent to the El Salvador prison or some other prison that one of these, if they're smart, they'll follow what El Salvador is doing and offshore our fucking trash, and we could pay these people. They can make a lot of money instead of like having all these ugly prisons here in America. We could just offshore, not because we can use more like house arrest and being able to keep track of these people better, that commit non-violent crimes. I'm talking about the worst of the worst. You don't just send like just a petty crime, you know, somebody peddling a couple ounces of weed or some shit to the fucking, no. I'm talking about the worst of the worst, sending like a Ted Bundy, like Green River Killer. You send those people, like, how, oh, they're constitutional right, like, and it's not like circumstantial as evidence. What I would do, I would send them. And another thing too, if you really want to get past the laws, just make that into American territory. What are they gonna do? And I'm sure that the poor countries, like, okay, like if I was running Haiti, Haiti's a fucking shithole. Well, if I was Haiti, if I was running Haiti, I would follow what the president of El Salvador did to a T. I would be like, hey, we will make prisons here, and in fact, I bet you America will fund building these prisons, because in the long run, it's cheaper to house these fucking people here than it is in America. Man, it costs so much money to house these people here. It just seems like crazy to me that people are like, we can't. It doesn't make any financial sense. I've heard different things where, you know, your average person in prison costs like $33,000 a year, or even up to like 70. I don't fucking know. It's probably because of all the salaries, and yes, it would take away some of the salaries there, but we could have some of the people who have those jobs, prison guards, if they want to, they can just go and work in those other prisons and train people. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is thinking outside the box, and we've already offshore. So like, the whole idea of, and I'm all for due process. I'm not saying like, you know, that kid, Carmelo Anthony. Like, I'm not just like, hey, we're just gonna go and, you know, like the old days, it's just like execute him right off the bat. This person said so, and we're just gonna execute. No, you have to have substantial proof before you start shipping American citizens. And I know it sounds weird. You know, it's against the Constitution. Well, if you are found, there's a ton of proof. I mean, they got your semen out of somebody that you one of these monsters raped or whatever. Obviously they did it. Your DNA is on there, and there is a problem too where you do have planted evidence. So That's why we have to be able to trust our justice system. We have to be able to trust it. And honestly, like, I do see the other side where we don't really trust it. It's just like, we don't want to send people to death or to prison for the rest of their life if they're innocent. We don't want to do that. And if we did send somebody by accident, then we make up for it, and whatever we can, we make up for it as much as we can. Like, we fucked up, maybe we had a corrupt prosecutor, then they get sent there. Like, there needs to be, like, we need to have public lashings. That should be something too, instead of, so if I, like, get a speeding ticket or something, well, you know, not really a speeding ticket, but, you know, something that where I can be like, instead of being incarcerated, I can just go ahead and get whipped. I really like that idea. In front of everybody. It could be on the internet too. There needs to be consequences. There needs to be consequences for people's actions. I don't want to see, like, innocent people suffering, but I don't want to see little kids fucking being, you know, like hurt. Like, I think it's ridiculous that we're not protecting our kids. Like, these people don't care about these heinous acts. That's what it seems like. That's the way I perceive it. Maybe they do. Maybe they're just saying that because they're trying to just say whatever they have to say to get famous or whatever. That's another thing. But we need to get tougher. We need to be tougher on crime. We are too weak. You know, we can't just allow people to feel like they can violate other people's rights. We can't allow that. We need to have, like, I guarantee you, a lot of these schools would not be soft targets if we actually protected them, you know, from these school shooters. If there was, like, public executions for these people, and it's not a quick way, we can do it where they have to suffer a little bit. I'm sure we could find people that have no problem putting some pain onto these people who deserve it. If they're found, like, 100% like, we know they did it. Like, you know what I mean? And we know that 100% that they did it. They should be punished, and they should be punished harshly. Just sending people to prison for their whole life here in America is just what it is. It's like, I've always thought, like, that's so unsustainable. So hypothetically, if it does cost, like, you know, 33 grand, like, these people, it cost me, that's about how much I made last year. You know what I mean? So, like, how can we keep this going? How can we keep these people? So we should offshore our trash. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to sit here and defend evil people that have no morality. I'm not going to defend that shit. But there needs to be, like, harsh consequences in our society for people who do that hurt other people. You can't have a civil society without punishment. That's what prisons and jails are supposed to be for, but it just doesn't make financial sense to just have people locked up here where, dude, we can have remote fucking trials. Like, you don't need to be in person, man. That's the thing, is, like, we don't have to have people in person anymore. You know, like, I sound like a hypocrite because I don't want these politicians remote voting, because it's like, if they can do that, then why can't I? Like, what's the point of them? We could all do that. Like, we don't need these people. That's why I say that. But yeah, it's just, we live in a deranged society that promotes degeneracy, uplifts degeneracy. To see the fact that Carmelo Anthony's family, who put up the GoFundMe for his legal defense at $100,000, I think it was initially, and then it got to that goal, and then somebody on their family or whatever upped it to 200,000, and then when it reached that, they just kept going up until I think GoFundMe shut them down, and like, no, you're not gonna, like, they would have probably been millionaires, man, if they'd have kept that shit up. You know what I mean? So, and they're using that money not for his legal defense, for their own personal use. It's just like, and the fact that, like, wouldn't they want to donate it? No, we're just gonna use it to, like, you see what they did. It's absolutely horrible. And what that does is like, maybe I can get famous, then I'm gonna do something similar. Maybe I can help my family out. Like, that's fraud. Like, why? Those people should be arrested for what they've done. Is that not like, that should be a law, man? Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. That's fucking fraud, dude. I can't put up something I can't, like, say, hey, there's this kid that has cancer, and, you know, donate to him so he can go to help his surgery or whatever, and then, like, just take the funds and just, like, fund my own personal life, maybe giving the kid a little bit. I mean, I guess that's what charities do. Corrupt. We're so corrupt. Jeez, man, this place is so messed up, dude. So messed up. Like, people, they're lucky I'm not in charge, man, seriously. And it's like, sometimes you have to be harsh, you know, to fix shit. And that's, the Democrats have destroyed our country, man. Like, that's not destroyed all the way, but that's where it was leading. The fact that they're defending people who've come here illegally, it's like, dude, I guarantee you that they don't want these people in their communities, you know. And that's the thing. It's like, then you have them. You know, if I was rich, what I would do, which probably sounds like human trafficking, but it's not really, because, like, it's their own will. You know, since like Soros likes to pay for protesters, and since I guess that's legal, I would just, like, rent a bunch of buses out, have a bunch of people go up and pay these people to go up to homeless people, be like, hey, we'll give you $100, a free tent, some new clothes, or some more money, whatever it takes, to get these people on a bus, and then you ship them to the rich neighborhoods. But you do it all at once, and you flood it. You flood these lavish places full of the Skid Row. You turn Skid Row, where it is now, into these rich places. That's what I would do, because these people don't live in reality, man. And they need to feel it. They need to feel, they're in their bubble. Like that girl, Taylor Lorenz, like how she doesn't want to condemn the assassin. Well, I guarantee you, if something happened like that to somebody that she cared about, she loved, or if it happened to her, like, come on, man. Like, these people just don't live in reality. And one way or another, that bubble is going to pop, whether financially with the shifts and everything's about to change, or we just, like, have a complete breakdown of society and they don't have their comforts anymore, you know. And, like, people like me, since we get to the point where I have nothing left to live for, I have nothing left to, you know, give a shit about, which Gen Z kind of getting that way. I mean, dude, you take away women, the men are getting really fucking pissed off and they lack empathy anyway. What do you think is gonna happen, dude? what do you think is going to happen? So you'll see, they will eventually see the crime on their doorstep at some point. That's what'll happen. And I'm not saying that I'm going to go do that. I'm just saying, like, if we kept shit going the way it was, it's like, I'm gonna start taking from you, man, since you you know what I mean, and the rich literally will get eaten. And that's why I try to like, I'm not advocating for this. And if there's anybody who thinks that I'm like trying to put ideas in anybody's head, no, not at all. I say this as like wake the fuck up, dude. Like, you don't live in reality. You don't understand that this is a dangerous fucking place, and anybody can take anybody out at any time. And they just have a normacy bias, because they have a peaceful community that they feel comfortable that they can walk around in, and it should be like that everywhere, honestly. I wish it was, but it's not. And it will get worse. It will become like a purge, man. Like, that's where we were headed, as the purge, man. Like, whether people want to admit it or not, it's just like, we would fall off a cliff. We would, like, the bubble would pop, fall off a cliff. Like, I really do think at some point, a lot of women, their bubbles will pop, and they will realize how vulnerable they are being independent on their own. You know, when they start especially when they start losing their jobs. AI takes over their jobs, and I think it's really beneficial to bring back these manufacturing jobs, because like I said, if I had a company, I had the means, you know, if I was a corporation, whatever, if I had the means, I would look at my balance sheet, how much revenue is costed by these people in the office jobs, and I'm like, I can just replace these with AI agents, some type of system that I can pay somebody to create, to have everything pretty much automated, and just like get rid of those people, just fire them all, you know what I mean, just lay them all off. And maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe we'll just keep on having these office jobs, and like it, you know, people like want to pay these high salaries to these people for doing nothing. They'll just basically automate their work with AI, and they'll just twiddle their thumbs and basically get paid to do nothing. Maybe that's what we're gonna do, and I'm completely wrong, but it just doesn't. I would think that, like, so I would rather allocate that money towards the people who are actually doing the on the ground work. I would want to make sure these people are taken care of. But in our society, we take care of the people who are living in a bubble most, and we give them the highest status. And I understand, you know, that's how it was back in the day. But we also didn't have the technology that we have, and that's really quickly progressing. So it's understandable to go to a university and then memorize a lot of crap, because it was very useful in the old days. But like, I can replace that with my phone. Like, I don't need to memorize a bunch of crap when I can just look it up really quickly. And we're gonna get to the point where with our AI assistants, where you don't really have to worry about it. You just, like, it'll be so easy. Like, hey, just look this up. Oh, okay. Oh, well, we can already do that. Just mess with AI a little bit. It'll be way faster though. So at some point, a lot of these office jobs revenues are going to get cut off. I would think. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're just going to keep screwing over and taking as much as we can from the people who actually, like, produce and work their asses off. Try to keep taking, because there's more of them than there is office people. And just, like, you know, ignore the reality of how advanced technology is getting. You know, I use the analogy of the phone, because, like, the worker, like me, the hands-on worker like me, is like the hardware. So to replace me, you gotta create a robot, a physical robot, you gotta engineer it. Then you have to like put it together and create it, and you have to have people to do that, and then it'll get automated in some ways in some type of factories for sure. But then you still have to ship it, you still have to assemble it, and it's just the process of that is just way more than it would be to have a program installed and replace these office jobs. You know, like I said, what's easier to replace, your phone or an app? You know, update an app or replace your whole phone. You know, like why would I, for me in my position, yeah, that's cool that the AI, like the new iPhones, where I wish I had that. I might be able to have something similar to that technology where you take a picture, you can remove people and put things in, and you know, AI helps out so much. That's awesome. But like, I can kind of do that on a lesser scale. I don't need to spend all that money to buy that, when I can just kind of download and do something similar to, you know what I mean? It's just harder to replace hardware than it is software. So, you know, we get to the point at some point where robots, physical robots, are dominating, and you'll see like robots walking around. I don't think that you need to have, I think the robots that look like humans, it's more so to try to like get people used to being, because that's, you know, like the familiarity of like, that's how humans look. So we want to have robots walking around with 2 legs and 2 arms, when it probably makes more sense to have robots that have like, that look completely different than humans. You know, I just think that they're trying to mimic humans to try to get us used to them being around us. But it really doesn't make sense, because if I was going to make robots that you know, like the Tesla bot, it looks like a human basically. It's got the head. I would make it so it's best like 8 arms or something. Like it could look like a spider. I don't know, whatever works the best to be able to do household chores instead of it, you know what I mean? I just think that people, to bring robots into their own personal lives, they feel like they have to have something that kind of looks like them. But it would make more sense to have something that isn't physically looking like a human, to take advantage of the utility. But that, you know, it is what it is. So I think that at some point there'll be there's going to be more robots than humans. That's probably like how it is on the internet. There's probably more robots than humans on these social media sites. And yeah, it's just like when I like I said in my other videos, I feel like most of these hate comments come from robots themselves to try to generate division. And well, I think it's trying to, like, I don't know if it's from China, Russia, our own government, whatever, EU, the New World Order, whatever. It's trying to generate an emotional response so we act out and become unhinged. And you can probably see it in some of my videos. I mean, for me, I'm kind of like, I have good days and bad days. You know, I'm more like, yesterday I was pretty upset. You could see that in my video how determined I was, and like right now I'm a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, I think that a lot of these, I'm not saying that all of them are, let's say, negative comments, because I do too, but like to have these comments so quickly, they're always so precise, there's no mistakes at all. It just like, dude, that's a robot, man. That's not even a real human. And they've already like shown that like there's like robot farming type of things that they do in other countries, you know what I mean? So I think that China is trying to, I mean, they're probably in cahoots with the EU. The best way to destroy America is from within. And yeah, we're at each other's throats. We're completely paralyzed right now. Polarized, not paralyzed, polarized against each other. And you know, like, it's my side versus your side. And you know, if like some leftists becomes unhinged because I say I like Trump, and then they get all, you know, or whatever, and it's like, oh, or the other way around, like, oh, I like Biden. Like, how can you like Biden for letting all these, you know, I wonder, it's just like, because when you come out into reality, I mean, honestly, in my experience, most places I go, like, white people and black people get along pretty well. But when you go on the internet, you see a lot of amplification. It kind of feels like, is this normal? You know, you're like, you know, I bet you there's I don't know, like, probably a little bit of racist in everybody to some extent, I guess. I don't know. I don't really look at myself as racist. And somebody might say, oh, you're racist. Yeah. I try to just like be objective, man. I try to be fair, and I just want every community in this country, in this whole world, to thrive, man. You know what I mean? Like, this whole, like, how we've gotten to this point. Yes, you know, we had to do things that way with the financial system, but it really doesn't serve a purpose. And, you know, like, we're getting to a point where it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. I don't know, man. There's not the reward there. So I just think that we have to get off this financial system at some point and go out into something different. You know what I mean? Like, the dollar, it's not going to last forever, dude. And yeah, we can leverage it right now to try to better ourselves, which we should, which this is the last hurrah. And Trump, obviously, this is why I don't believe that we are going to have a civilization breakdown. I think it's going to keep going. It's going to keep progressing. I don't know if it was God, like, in the Old Testament, the one who created everything, that give us a perception of creation, like, created everything. I don't know. Or it was, I'm in a simulation, or, you know, there's aliens that are watching us right now. They're off somewhere else, and maybe it's a different dimension. Maybe they're in the center of the earth, like, watching how in our individual lives they can view us, you know, and or in some other distance, you know, star, but they can see us, and like, they're just being entertained and curious, which would probably vary, like, to sit back and to see, not like every single second, but like, you know, that I want to see, maybe they're different than, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for us to understand their consciousness, you know what I mean? Like, think about your consciousness compared to an animal's consciousness, you know? Like, they're definitely conscious with everything around them, but they're also, like, relaxed too, you know? And they're pretty, like, they're kind of like robots. Like, eat, sleep, like, there's mate, like, it's very basic, the reptile brain or whatever. We don't know if there's like a intelligence from somewhere else that is viewing us, and there's like a ton of them, and it's like, this is a huge TV show for them, you know. They're just kind of seeing like how we are evolving. It would be pretty interesting. Like, I'm more interested in like current events, what's happening right now, as opposed to like fiction. You know, I used to like fiction. It was cool, you know, watching like Rocky. I love that story. I can relate. The story I relate to most is Rocky. Not when he like is successful, but like before. That's where I relate a lot to. That first movie. I've watched it so many times. And minus a love story too. You can take that out. But yeah, man, I don't view myself as racist. Other people will. It's all about your perception, man. Some people think like, oh, just I can't talk about what's happening here in America because you're white, but like if I wasn't white, then I could. It's just like, why can't I criticize? And why can't I not criticize Israel? Like I should be able to criticize. People should be able to criticize me. I have no problem with that. If I'm wrong in something, I want to like analyze, be like, oh yeah, that's right, I was wrong. That makes sense, and it just takes a hit to your ego, of course. But yeah, I just think that like Trump, everything is aligned pretty much perfectly. I wanted him to, he wouldn't even be president right now. That's a funny thing, is he wouldn't even be president right now. I think he's a pretty fair man, dude. I really do. It's like he's still trying to be fair. He doesn't have to be fair. He could just be like really tyrannical. This is his last term, and he could just like. But I think he's trying to be fair, and that's how we should be. We try to be fair. Try to be moderate. There is a lot of extreme on both sides, man. There really is, and it's hard for people not to get caught up in it with emotions and tribalism, because we all want, for me, I'm a lone wolf. I've always been a lone wolf. People don't follow me. I follow people to a certain extent, not so much anymore, but I do my own path. I do my own thing. And it's kind of lonely, man. Sometimes it's you don't feel like you have any support, and it probably feels really nice to be accepted. Kind of like when you're in high school, or like going to prison. Look how prisons are ran. Isn't it crazy how prisons are ran? Like the cultures, they go to each other by different races. Like if you don't become a white supremacist in prison, then you're fucked. If you're white, you know what I mean? Like you're off on your own and you're fighting everybody. So like chances are you kind of want to go towards them and at least be like really cool with them, because you just get fucked up by everybody, but including them. And that's what we're like devolving into in our society. We're so obsessed with race, and here I am talking about it, so I sound like a hypocrite, but I'm just commenting on things. And I wanted to I look past skin color. I don't really care about skin color. Like when I was growing up, I was mostly attracted to black women, man. Like seriously, I was really fascinated with black women. I love black women. Things have evolved and went to Spanish women and went to white women. Of course I've liked white women, but having my favorites, and like right now it's kind of like, just don't be fat. It's just don't be fat. And don't be deranged. Be loyal. People aren't being taught morals, man. That's what it is. The morality is degeneracy, and it's unsustainable. There's a lot of clickbaiting going on for people to try to get money, just like the mainstream media. Like, okay, the mainstream media, they're not going to get views if there isn't like turmoil. right? In our society, we don't care about like good things, like people doing good things. It's more like what gets propped up, what people see is like the bad things, um like right now, the worship that the left is doing, taking on Luigi as like their savior, their hero. I mean, it pretty much shows that. So I lost track of thought, to be honest. Like, my whole thing is, if you want to live a certain way, then go live it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to live under communism like China, that's fine. You can do that. If you want to live under a dictatorship, that's cool. All this stuff is going to be gone soon anyway. Maybe not in my lifetime, but all this shit's going to be gone. All this shit's like going to be, I kind of look at it as like prehistoric. I don't want civilization to break down. I don't want to live in and I don't think it is. I think what I was trying to get to is, I do think that there was someone that stepped in and stopped Trump from being killed. It's just too perfect. He was exactly what we needed right now to shake things up, to change things, because I don't think people really understand. We would have a civilization collapse if we kept on business as usual. And it's not just a leftist, but it could have been Nikki Haley that got in there. You know what I mean? She's supposed to be she's a right winger, the Uniparty. It would, and the people who are pushing that crap, like, they don't understand, like, if we would have kept going down that path, they're not safe. Their families aren't safe. Like, it's unsustainable. You're not going to keep living in your lavish, comfortable life and your safe, happy life if we have civilization breakdown. You know what I mean? It's like the people that are pushing this crap, but like the mainstream media, they make money off of this crap. And it's get to the point where, like, we're like destroying our country right now. Maybe we should be like non-biased. The CNN, the most trusted news network. That's what they used to be called, and I used to trust them, dude. I used to look at their website. That was the number one site I looked at for news, up until like even 2016, man. I was more into sports, but like, I thought they were trustworthy, and a lot of people still do. But a lot of people are waking up too that they're full of shit. They're trying to stir up stuff so they can report on it and get views, whatever they can to get views. And I think that's what's really happening with these mainstream. But I think there is an element of trying to destroy our country as well, by these outlets. That Trump is just horrible. Everything he does is horrible. Like, if your whole thing is like, I'm gonna take the opposite of Trump on everything, like, you are fucking stupid. Seriously, Trump, like, you're just gonna sit here and take the opposite and act like he has done nothing good. He's just horrible. Like, you're the fucking problem. Like, seriously, you are the problem. That's the dumbest stance to take. That's like having no type of critical thinking at all. Oh, Trump said this, I'm gonna be opposed to it automatically because you're in a cult. That's what it is. It's a cult. And a lot of people don't realize that. Well, a lot of people, like normal people, they don't pay attention. They just like, because it's always been like, traditionally, these news networks have been traditionally like, they seem to be non-biased. So I don't know. People probably hate on me for this video, which is fine. Hate on me. I'm just trying to speak reality. I'm just trying to tell the truth, man. That's it. If I got something wrong, yeah, definitely, like, I don't expect people to agree with everything I'm saying, and you shouldn't. And you shouldn't just, if anybody does listen to me, do your own research, find out things for yourself. And like I said, you might find out I'm wrong about something, and because I can't know everything about everything. Nobody can know everything about everything. But I do know that if we did have a race war, it would definitely increase. So it wouldn't just be like, if there was a race war or whatever, civil war, it wouldn't just be like there would still be like normal. There'll still be normal, like, people live their normal life. They go to work, they, it's not like you just like stop completely, unless like everything was to break down, which that could happen with the financial collapse, when nobody trusts the dollar no more. It's kind of like the Depression. People realize that it is kind of just phony, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It kind of feels like we do, to some extent, live in like some type of prison. That's what it kind of feels like. It feels like we're so limited, honestly. Man, this video talks about a lot of different, I don't even know if I want to upload it, honestly, but I think it's kind of a bad video. Yeah, for me, I'm not racist. I don't feel like I'm a racist person. I'm sitting here, like, hey, listen, man, I'm just trying to say, like, listen. And for black folks, man, I can't imagine, like, what like, not knowing your ancestors, and like, but the thing is just blaming white people, blanketly, like, is kind of ridiculous. And ignoring like the root problem. The root cause was your own people selling you out. Like, it was brutal back then. Like, every single country had slavery back then, and to be honest, white people should get more credit too, and because we ended slavery. The last country that ended slavery was a African country. Like, if you look at I looked it up. I heard the term Uncle Tom a lot and all this, and I'm like, it doesn't affect me, but I actually looked it up, and it actually represented good. I guess he was like a slave, and he tried to help other people out, the Uncle Tom or whatever, but it's been flipped. That term has been flipped into a negative. That term's been and the N-word, which I look at the N-word is like a horrible word, and I don't really ever have any desire to say that word. But how it's been flipped, you can't get mad at people who say that when you say it yourself. And we took back the word. Well, I mean, if we just like all stop using it, it would be forgotten about. But no, like, it's being perpetuated, and I just don't know the end goal of the whoever runs all this crap. I don't know what if we have societal breakdown, like, we're coming after you. You know what I mean? Like, if the rich elites, they think that they're just going to continue to live, and they won't be affected by there won't be consequences. There's not going to be a Haiti-style revolution. Like, I don't think they just live in there's so many people that just live in a complete bubble that they think they can't get touched. me making this video and saying this, someone can find out where I'm at and get me. You know what I mean? I'm putting myself out here because I want to try to just wake people up and try to not go down that path of like whatever the fuck they're trying to, like, civilization collapse, and just the race war is just so unnecessary, man. It's all unnecessary. Civil war is unnecessary. It's called like coming together, understanding the other side, having compassion, having empathy. Just like, okay, like China. Like China, listen. If you're in a bad spot financially, like, you're not, like, quit acting like you're strong. Quit, like, how long do you think you can sustain this? You know what I mean? Like, come to us. Like, listen, this is the way things are going. We're not in a good spot. There's nothing wrong with them. Like, okay, we can work with you. You know, we don't want you to collapse. You know, we don't want you to collapse. We want you to do good. We want to do good too. So we can work together. So we can figure this out together. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be with the left and the right. Unfortunately, the left doesn't like to negotiate. That's the problem. That's why I really hammer on these people, because, like, they want everything their way all the fucking time. All the time. And if they don't get it their way, they start acting out in violence like a child. They're basically children. Man, I just try to bring a little bit of wisdom. That's all. I'm not going to be here forever. You know, my time will be up at some point. Whether somebody sees my video and, you know, they think I'm some type of, like, bigot racist, and they, like, some gangs, because I say I want to round up gangs or whatever, they take me out, or I live a long life into, like, my 90s, you know. Who the heck knows? But everything that I've put up can be taken down, and at some point it will be. At some point, all this will be recycled. Just like how it's spring right now, right? Things are starting to blossom. It's still, you can see it's not quite spring yet. You know, we still have a lot of rain to come, so it's still like these trees. There's no leaves on those. You know, when spring comes and start to get the beginning of summer, and throughout summer, those trees will be completely green. And then what happens? What happens? It starts getting cold. The leaves start changing because they're dying, and then they fall. Then, you know, you just have a constant cycle. Well, that's going to happen with our universe as well. You know, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow. You know, maybe we create a massive we create a small black hole that turns into something gigantic. Maybe it's already happened and I'm in a simulation, or I'm in a different type of dimension. I don't know. But everything gets recycled. Everything gets recycled into this universe. All this will eventually be sucked into a black hole. Probably, we don't know too much, but most likely destroyed. Everything will die, and it'll probably get spit out in some type of other universe, a new universe, and it'll be reformed, and it probably just goes back and forth. I don't know how the universe, and we don't really know how the universe works. We really don't. We know there's black holes. There's probably a massive black hole that we're still on the explosion of that black hole, which, you know, people think is like the Big Bang, something, I don't know, the God particle. But it gets and then at some point what'll happen is, probably, I have no evidence, it's just me using my, like, logic or whatever. At some point it'll stop expanding, you know, kind of like at the end of summer, and then it'll probably start, everything will get sucked back in and back into the black hole, get destroyed, and put out back into reforming, kind of like creating new universes, creating new suns and all this stuff or whatever. Where did that guy go? I came over here to get my shoes wet for no reason, whatever. But anyway, I don't know, that's kind of like my theory about the universe is, since we're expanding, I think at some point all this will be contracted back into the black hole that gets on the other side expanded. All this shit that we have right now gets recycled. Like everything, if you look at everything on this planet, everything gets recycled. We get recycled. Everything gets recycled on this planet. You know, it's all recycling. So I don't know. This is just my theory. Who knows? I'm just some crazy person with a GED that, you know, I'm uneducated. I'm uneducated. You know, come up with crazy thoughts because I try to use my imagination. I take things that that are supposed to be factual, or well, we kind of don't know. It's just a theory, you know, all of it. Like the theory of if we could travel the speed of light, and we travel the speed of light out of this planet, and we travel the speed of light coming back, it'll be, everything will age by, it'll be age. It'll, like, you just went into the future. That's one of Einstein's things, is like, if you was to do that hypothetically and come back, it'd be like 1 billion years from now, you know. That's one of his theories. So like me saying this, we don't know what this is, to be honest. So yeah, that's it for this video.